A very good evening to all of you. Hope all of you are safe, sound in these tough times. Welcome all to Parent Station, and this is the fifth year celebration of Parent Station. And with that, we bring you this show, which includes a panel discussion with introducing our new initiative, Sparsh. More to come in line, but before that, let me welcome our guests, our panels for today. Her Highness Maharani Saheba ji of Bhavnagar. Welcome, ma'am. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Then with us, we have Mr. Pathik Mehta, who is an entrepreneur at Microsign. Thank you for being here, sir. Thank you so much. And also, we have our dearest Harsha ma'am always with us. Welcome, Harsha. So, as we all know, that anything initiated, anything started cannot go forward before thinking about the Almighty. And as we are taking this online, so we don't have any physical deep pragatya, but I would like to recite a shlok before we start this show. Let's join hands, close our eyes. Vakritunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Devo Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. So, with the blessings of the Almighty, we take this show forward, and I would request. We have, I guess, Jinali, Dr. Jinali Modi with us.
Yes.
Welcome, ma'am. Welcome to the show. Jinali, ma'am, is a dietitian, a nutritionist, homeopathy, and psychology counselor. Welcome to the show, ma'am.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
So, taking this show forward, I would request for the slide, the next slide, please. Okay, so talking about Parent Station. Parent Station is an idea, I should say a brainchild of Harsha ma'am, who always thought that as parenting is nothing about a special manual or instructions, so we always believe in there is nothing as perfect in parenting. It is always learning with errors and corrections and everything. So this idea came up about Parent Station. Uh, Parent Station is a page, is a group, and it is our love. Full a team effort. We have brought Parent Station to this level, and we are celebrating the fifth year of Parent Station. I'd like to mention the workings of Parent Station here. So, Parent Station is working, I should say, every day with new ideas. And here you can see on the screen, like we have Monday polls. That is why I said every day. Tuesday thoughts, Wednesday book reviews, Thursday toy reviews, Friday expert talks, where we have experts from different areas, different cities talking with us on different topics, which helps children and parents simultaneously. Uh, then we have Ask Me Anything sessions, Saturday Amazing Facts. We have cookery shows, DIY sessions, family game shows, happy hours, storytelling, and play dates. And many more new ideas to come this year. And now, as I said, it is a brainchild of Harsha ma'am. So let me introduce her to you. I know she doesn't deserve any special introduction. She's known by all and loved by all. I want that slide, Harsha. Please don't do that.
That's okay, Mona. We won't take that much time to, we just tell about parent station. Let's take it
Okay,
that way.
okay, okay, okay. So now she's being humble. Don't do that. You deserve it. Okay. So let me tell you that the belief of parent station is there is nothing such as perfect parenting. So if you feel that that person or that lady is a perfect mom or a perfect dad, so there is nothing as perfect parenting. So stay calm. Then the vision help parents raise happy children. We need more happy children than all those first rankers and all that super children, but we need more of happy children nowadays. The mission of Parent Station is to build parental confidence, reduce the stress, because we know as parents we have gone and we are going through a lot of stress, and to maximize the joy of parenting. In this stress, we have forgotten to enjoy the journey of parenting. And here we just strive to make efforts so that parents enjoy this journey. And now, how are we doing all these things? What is our strength? Who is behind Parent Station? A powerful network which is managed by our admins and admin mates from various cities with various ideas popping up every time. Let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. And they are full of enthusiasm and passion about parenting. So we have Miss Hiran Bagadia, myself from Bhavnagar, Miss Sarmishta Parmar, Miss Hetal Rathore, Miss Anshita Kothari, Miss Sejal Desai, Miss Shweta Shah. And together with the admin mates, we make up this team. The admin mates are Miss Aarti Gautam, Miss Kriti Kadakia, Miss Nitu Mehrotra, Miss Shraddha Pachori, Miss Shilpa Dulera, Miss Kayuri Shah, Miss Gargi Shingala, Miss Rupal Masani, Miss Bhagyashri Mehta, and Miss Sonia Kapadia. So this is Team Parent Station headed by Miss Harsha Ramaiya. And now, when I talk about the fifth annual celebration of Parent Station, we bring you a new initiative by us, and that is Sparsh. What is Sparsh? How did we think about it? We'll talk about it later in this session, but before that, I would request for the panel discussion, the most awaited one, Harsha. Harsha is a moderator for this panel discussion, and we have our panelists with us, Mr. Pathik Mehta, Maharani Saheba, and Dr. Jinali Modi. We have Pratibha Thakker also, but I think she's not joined yet.
No, she hasn't joined in, so we'll start the discussion. By the time if she joins in, I'll take her in. Is that okay?
Okay, sure. Okay, Harsha, kindly take
Perfect.
over.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So today we all have gathered here for a beautiful topic, that is how much is too much. I think in generation of today, parents feel that whatever we give our children in terms of feelings, in terms of gifts, in terms of presents, is all that we need to give our children. So at times there is no measurement. So parents feel कि जो भी बच्चा मांगता है हम किसके लिए कमाते हैं, after all it is our children, so let us buy everything. So at some point of time it's very important for all of us to understand that how much is too much, because anything that is beyond a certain limit is not good. So the whole discussion of today is going to rely on few important points that we are going to discuss today. So, the first question that I want to bring in front of everybody is to the Maharani Saheba, Her Highness, that parenting today versus the past and old parenting styles versus today's modern parenting style. Why have I put this question to Her Highness? Is because she has grandchildren and now she sees that difference कि जैसे उन्होंने बच्चों को बड़ा किया था and now how this generation being raised. So there is a lot of difference There are some good things, but there are some things which really need more modification. Because I myself have heard my mother telling, when I am parenting my daughter, so that parenting gap is always there. So I feel that in that generation, parents had three, four, five children. Today we have one or two, but hence we feel, oh my god, we are tired, parenting two children also. So Her Highness Maharani Saheba, my first question to you is that the difference between the parenting then and now. Over to you, Maharani Saheba ji.
Good evening and namaste, everybody. It's lovely to be with the panel. Thank you so much, Harsha Ben. So, right at the onset, I think I saw it on your screen, on the screen, on the slide as well, where you said that there is no perfect parent. So I would like to say that there's no correct way or some wrong way, because the fact is that by definition, every mother, every father tries their best to, be a wonderful parent and bring their children up perfectly. So we obviously cannot judge good, bad parenting. But what we do know for a fact is that there are certain methods which, manage to, by the end of, say, the age of 18 or 21, we are able to present to the world a grown up adult who is happy, well balanced, and a good example in society. That I would say is a good parent then. And we do know for a fact that there are various things that are detrimental to a child. So you all are the professionals, so I think that is why there is a lot more needed now. The first difference, like you have already mentioned, is in the earlier generation. So I can take 3, 4 generations, how my parents brought me up, and then how I brought my children up, and they're young adults now, and my son and daughter-in-law have a little baby. So I can say from all that, there's been a very big difference in all these generations. The first one, of course, being the social structure has changed, like you said, because early on a child would have lived with dada, dadi, kaka, kaki, faiba, a whole bunch of cousins. You didn't need play dates. There were enough people in the household, which according to me was a far more harmonious and a nourishing environment for a child, because when there's so many people around, the child is constantly being given something to feed off. There's a lot of love and nurturing, and the stress is not just on. I actually, my heart goes out to young parents nowadays, or probably both of them working. It's a nuclear family, they have 1 or 2 children at the most. Very little support structure, very little there's very little input from in-laws also, or from your own parents, because people migrate to different cities to work. So I think that firstly is the biggest change. The second one, according to me, which I'm not sure that many people talk about it, is the fact that there was an abundance of nature earlier on. Even cities and towns had a lot of green spaces, parks, there were trees where the children could climb up, play. And this concept of, going from one school building back to the house where there's probably no garden or no space to really play, it's, I think, very, very bad for the emotional, psychological, and the physical growth of a child. So that is the second point. And the third one, of course, is technology, which you all are facing all the time, because the world has changed drastically. Of course, on the one hand, technology has really helped, in modern day living. And on the other hand, it's also taken away a lot of relationships, time, peace of mind. So, that balance is a tight rope that parents have to walk nowadays. So there are these few points where, I feel that it's a world of a difference between, even for me, when I see my granddaughter now, she knows what a mobile is, and however hard you try not to let her look on the screen, she told me the other day, put it on charge, so those sort of things. And I feel that you have to find that balance. Those are new age problems now for parents. So, but overall, I just feel that, these are the things I can say were easier earlier on. But nowadays, I do feel that things are far more professional. We never had people like you talking to us and telling us how to deal with a lot of things that I wish, we had got help with. And there's psychology, there's science. I mean, you have professionals on the panel just now. for science, for something like learning disabilities. Earlier on, nobody had heard. I think when I was in school, there were so many children who just could not do math and science, and I'm sure they had learning disabilities. But now it's recognized, and it's very easy to work around it so that the child has a perfectly normal education and a childhood. And then, of course, there are other things as well where, counseling is there. So many times when there are problems in families, when the child is, having a difficult time over some issue or the other, whether it's for parents or whether it's for children, counseling really, really helps. I have, seen that myself, that it's a big asset to have nowadays. So, there are two sides to both. Sometimes we get nostalgic and I say, ki, oh, it was such an easier time those days. And now parents do find it very difficult because, like I said, it's a highly competitive world also. And like you also said, I understand that parents have to make sure that their children are focused so that eventually they get a good job, because life is very difficult. It's tough to earn money, it's tough to make a living nowadays. So you have to make sure that they're guided correctly along that path, but at the end of the day, at the cost of what? So I actually think that everyone should watch Three Idiots, because you must understand that if a child wants to become a photographer or learn singing, they will do well in life in that department. So, like I said, you all are the professionals now. So, just my little take on how parenting has changed over the years. And I admire all of you for taking it to such a professional level. I'm very happy the whole setup is there for all the parents now. So
Thank you so much, Maharani Saheba ji, for putting it so beautifully. You covered up all the points very beautifully. Because, as you mentioned very rightly, there are few points, that even I think in today's parenting, if we try to incorporate very beautifully, you mentioned that journey from school to home. That journey, even today it is possible, but due to, I think, shortage of time, at times, we feel that chalo theek hai, let it go that way. But if we try to steal those moments, that parenting could be, what we want. So thank you so much for putting these points forward. My next question to Dr. Jinali is, so this question specifically I've chosen for you because you have a young daughter and you are a millennial parent. So
true.
perfection. I'm sure today's parents, they are obsessed. I have, mindfully used this word obsession, because when a 2-year-old child comes to my play school and if the child doesn't recite a rhyme properly, the mother is tensed, frustrated. मैम उसको ट्विंकल ट्विंकल नहीं आता है, मैम उसको एप्पल दिखाओ तो एप्पल नहीं बोलता है. And I'm like, at that particular time, what I feel, that I think I am the most careless parent on this earth, because I've never bothered, that my child at this age should know these things. So obsession word, I'll not take it negatively, but very mindfully I've put, because today's parents, look forward for perfection. Why I feel so is because today's parents have their own social media platform, So if the
Yeah.
child performs in a particular manner, they need to showcase that my child of 2 years does this, my child of 2.5 years is able to do this. So I
Right.
feel that perfection is put on the child, that pressure is put on the child to perform in a certain manner. So when you compare perfection and parenting, how far do you think that it goes together? Because for me, if you ask, they are opposite words. And the title of my book also says that perfection and parenting will never go together. So I just want to know your thoughts, Dr. Jinali.
Good afternoon to all of you on the panel. It's so lovely to be here. And thank you, Harsha ma'am, for giving me this wonderful opportunity, because in today's world, parenting has become an important phenomenon. When I speak to my parents, I'm 32, and when I speak to my parents, they tell me कि मने याद नहीं तो कई रीते मोटी થઈ ગઈ. Correct, because we were in a mumbo jumbo of our life wherein we had two kids, and we had an entire family, and our family members also had kids. Correct, so it was like a whole family growing up together. So there was never a clearer idea of what do you want to do as parenting per se, because itna time nahi tha. Nowadays in our generation we are having one kid, max to max two. Correct.
There's some problem, I think.
I think we've lost Dr.
About
Jinali. Dr.
Yeah.
Jinali, are you there?
hear me?
Yes, yes, now
Am
we
I
can
Yes.
hear
audible?
you.
Yes. Okay. So in this digital era, the parents have become too worried as to and too shaky about their own grounds. When they become parents, they are very much determined and they are very much in control of their emotions. But when they meet parents of their own generation doing things and losing it, even at smallest things like comparing their children with other people's abilities, is where the whole idea of perfection comes from. In my understanding, I've always understood that I would prefer excellence over perfection. Correct. So when I say what is perfection, perfection is that you have to do something the way it should be done with 100% guarantee of it turning into success. That is called as perfection. And what I understand as excellence is to give it a try, fall, get up again, try again, and then do it to your 100% potential. Correct. To say that beta aap kar sakte ho is not a pressure, but teko karna padega is a pressure. So we try that we push our children, or rather we let them be towards excellence over putting them an idea of perfection. Now I also pity parents, because when a parent wants perfection, we have to understand that the intention is never bad. Correct. I never choose to believe that a parent can be wrong towards their children. So their whole idea कि मेरे बच्चे का बेस्ट होना चाहिए, द इंटेंशन इज ऑन स्पॉट, कि मेरे बच्चे को बेस्ट जिंदगी मिलना चाहिए, उसको स्ट्रगल नहीं मिलना चाहिए, और जो मेरे साथ हुआ वो उसके साथ ना हो, और जो मुझे मिला उससे बेहतर उसको मिले. Correct. This is a gist of how a parent generally wishes for their children. But the problem in this is that you can't base your children's life as per your experience. Correct. मैं आपको हजार बार बोलूंगी कि ये आप जो सोच रहे हो वो गड़बड़ है, पर ये जब तक आप एक्सपीरियंस नहीं करोगे तब तक नहीं पता चलेगा. मैं हजार बार बोलूंगी तपेली गर्म है मत छुओ, पर जब तक तपेली को हाथ लगा के आपको जलेंगे नहीं तब तक नहीं पता चलेगा. सो it's very important that the parents also understand that they are also victims of their own parenting. Correct. So when a parent looks for perfection in a child, I always tell them that you are looking for loopholes. जो आपके अंदर कमी है वो आप बच्चे में कंप्लीट करना चाहते हो. Correct. However, it is good or bad, I don't know. But what is difficult here is that the child is becoming a victim of your ambitions. And that victimized child only understands love as conditional. That अगर मैं बेस्ट बिहेव नहीं करूंगा, अगर मैं बेस्ट खाना नहीं खाऊंगा, अगर मैं बेस्ट परफॉर्म नहीं करूंगा, अगर मैं फर्स्ट नहीं आऊंगा, तो my mom and dad will not approve of me, and they call it that they do not love me enough. Correct. तो फिर वो बच्चा क्या करता है कि वो बच्चा, दैट चाइल्ड विल गो आउट एंड लुक फॉर अप्रिसिएशन, दैट चाइल्ड विल गो आउट एंड लुक फॉर एक्सेप्टेंस, जो उसको फर्स्ट हैंड घर से मिलना चाहिए. सो इट इज द लव एंड द अफेक्शन of being complete should come from the home, but these children are the ones who go outside in the society and look for things to complete them. तो आप अगर चाबी हो और एक परफेक्ट होल मिल रहा है, तो आप लॉक इन की बन जाते हो एंड यू कंप्लीट ईच अदर. करेक्ट. सो द चाइल्ड ऑलवेज looks for that completion. Correct. And that is where children become troubled kids. Most of the patients who come to us for counseling, we've observed that the roots of their problems always lead to their childhood. I have seen less than 10% of cases in my life wherein the roots of their illnesses were not laid in their childhood. And the major reason is their parents not being able to understand as to how to speak to a child. Correct. So I always tell parents, whoever I meet, that never say that I want you to have an extraordinary life. Nahin. I always tell them, you take care of the ordinary, the extraordinary will follow. Correct. And there's this very inspiring poem which I think I've grown up listening. It says that there's lots to go before you sleep, there's lots to go before you sleep. Correct. So it's a poem that says that You know, it's a cold winter evening and you have to rush back to your house, and there is so much to do on the way and you can't give up. So you keep trying till you reach your destination. Otherwise, there's a lot of winter outside, and it will make the bad. It will have a bad situation. So you keep pursuing. Don't give up. And if you falter, I am there for you. You are not perfect because I am not perfect. Correct? The more you try to be perfect in your house, the child will be burdened. Sometimes you don't even have to say it directly कि तेरे को परफेक्ट होना पड़ेगा, बट वो बच्चा देख रहा है कि मम्मी अगर 5 मिनट भी लेट पहुंचती है वर्क पे तो मम्मा लूजेज इट। करेक्ट? तो जो मैं 5 मिनट लेट करूंगा तो मम्मी विल लूज इट। करेक्ट? तो यू डू नॉट बिकम एंशियस व्हेन यू आर इम्परफेक्ट। You be okay with the ordinary, the child will find extraordinary in its own ways. Correct? So this is what I feel. Also, since we are discussing about how much is no, how much is too much no, I would like to have an input on that as well. So I like to believe that we are nobody to say yes and no to anybody. I think I am not choosing to be in the position to say yes or no to even a 3-year-old of mine, because most of the times she has a will of herself. And we as a generation, when we were 18 or 20, our parents felt कि हाँ अब बड़े हो गए. Correct? In today's generation, I've observed that children are becoming independent about their strong opinions at a very, very young age. Correct? So my 3-year-old doesn't allow me to select clothes for her, and she valiantly chooses any clothes that she wants to wear, even when it comes to food. So I don't feel like I'm giving her the freedom. I'm just letting her be. Correct? So when you say too much no, it's dangerous. But when you don't say no, the repercussions of it are even bigger. So I understand that. Imagine if I ask you, why was the last time that you got angry? Or why was the last time you got upset? Correct? Ask yourselves, just give it a thought and ask. Most of the times the thought that comes to your head was that I got upset or I got angry because things did not go the way I thought they should, or people did not behave the way they should have with me. And so the meaning is that something or somebody said no to me or did not choose to behave as per my understanding, that gives me the right to be angry or upset. Correct? That is where I understand that there is a very importance of the child having an ability to listen to a no. They must be having the resistance to listen to no. Correct? So yeah, not too much no. I am not in for too much yes and not for too much no, but certainly no is important. Yeah.
I agree to whatever you said. Just one more question to add on, Dr. Jinali, is
Yeah.
why I'm putting this question, because I face this problem every single day when I counsel to the mothers. So, for
Mm,
example, you are okay with whatever is the performance of your child, okay? So
mm,
now when it comes to a mommy WhatsApp group, okay, so now there is a
mm,
discussion wherein everybody is showing that my child has got an A plus, my child has got a B plus, or whatever, and your child, for an instance, has not got any grade because she did not perform good in the class. The teacher has told you that she is a moody child, and if she's in a good
mm,
mood she performs well, but she was not in the best of her mood. So
mm.
now what will be your reaction when you post her result in the group as it is? Because that time,
Correct.
parents come and tell me, ma'am, એવું તમે કરો યાર, પછી મારે ગ્રુપમાં કેવી રીતે બધાને કહેવાનું, મેમ પ્લીઝ તમે એટલીસ્ટ એક રિમાર્ક લખી દો. So
Mm.
this question is to all the mommies, because they need to understand. So what is your take on this, Dr. Jinali?
Correct. So when a child comes back with a C plus or a D plus or an underperformance certificate to a parent, this is exactly the point, very crucial point, wherein the child is looking forward to a mother's acceptance. So at this point, however, in your deepest thought, you want to scold the child, undermine the child, make the child feel low about themselves, you have to ask yourselves, okay, has there ever been a time in your life when saying bad things to you has helped you progress? હું તમને એવું કહું કે તમને તો રસોઈ સારી બનાવતા જ નથી આવડતી, તમે તો બોગસ કુક છો, તો does this statement ever allow you to be a better cook? Or if I say that you are a horrible wife, I only feel that if you're a better wife, I would have been a happier person with you. Correct? Whenever you give a negative comment to somebody, or when you hit somebody when they're already hurting, it has never allowed anybody to progress. So, however, you understand the child might not have performed, the only way of dealing with this, first, primarily with the child, is to tell them that it's okay. I understand that you must not have been able to perform that day, and that the next time you are given this opportunity, you will make the most of it. Correct? We will strive and we will try. I will support you in helping you out in the loopholes that you are facing while giving an examination or performing while in school. Correct? Correct? Never even call it that you have anxiety. Never use these words. No. Never say that you have phobia when it comes to the teacher, because then the children also latch to these words, then they use them against you कि हाँ मेरे को तो phobia है इसलिए मैं perform नहीं कर पाता हूँ. So always keep your statements very simple, free of any adjectives. Correct? So first make them feel understood that they would not have performed because there was something hurting, there was something uncomfortable about that day, and acceptance that it's okay, your marks are not relevant, but are your facts cleared? Correct? Always in doubt, ask a question. I think in all my sessions, if you see me, I say this, that when in doubt, ask a question. So you ask your child of what happened exactly that day. Correct? Try to understand. And then don't name it, don't tag it. And then just let it pass. हाँ, the
Correct.
biggest problem with parents is they don't let it pass. घर पे कोई
I
मेहमान
know.
आते
I
हैं
agree.
तो वो बोल तो देते हैं बच्चे के मुंह पे कि इट्स ओके, पर फिर दूसरों के पेरेंट्स के सामने कंप्लेन करते हैं कि देखो ना मेरा बेटा
Correct.
परफॉर्म ही नहीं कर पाता है. हाँ, देन द चाइल्ड इज लिसनिंग, सो देयर यू हैव गॉन, इट्स ओवर, स्टोरी ओवर फॉर यू. करेक्ट? Also, when it comes to applying comparative approach between parents, you have to understand that imagine if you did not do anything for your child, or you did 100% for your child will grow the way it is going to grow. आप आपके बच्चे के सामने पहले दिन से सुबह 8 बजे से रात के 8 बजे तक अगर किताब लेके बैठोगे, तो भी आपका बच्चा जितना स्कोर कर सकता है वो उतना ही स्कोर करेगा. ये बहुत कम देखा गया है कि बहुत एफर्ट डालने से बहुत रिजल्ट मिलता है. नहीं, देयर इज अ लॉट अबाउट द चाइल्ड्स एबिलिटीज. So accept it and never feel demeaned in public about your child's performance, because your child might be better at something else that this group is not portraying. Correct? So the
Correct.
child, and I'm saying that even if your child is not extraordinary at anything, then also there is no big deal, because not everybody was born to be extraordinary. Yeah,
Very well
this is
said.
what I
So,
feel.
Dr. Jinali, I'll pick up a few things that you mentioned. I think the parents today need to understand the adjectives specifically, because I notice whenever I stand at the gate and welcome the parents and the children, तो
Hmm.
पहला ही सेंटेंस ही होता है, मैम ये बहुत जिद्दी है, मैम इज वेरी stubborn, मैम he hits
Hmm.
other children. I think then this gradually gets registered in a child's mind. So very beautifully you put this together. So thank you, Dr. Jinali. So Pathik bhai, I'm coming to you. But before I put your question, I want to take the conversation that I had with Dr. Jinali. So she took the child's perspective. I want you to make us understand if my child has performed low, how will I accept that in front of my friend circle? Because the biggest challenge today of moms and dads is picture में बहुत कम आते हैं, because dads are very free minded, and most of the dads have seen that whenever they come for a parent teacher meeting also they have to say મને બહુ ખબર નથી પડતી એના મમ્મીને પૂછો ને. So at the gate also, when we receive them and we ask them that in which house is your child, rose house, sunflower house, એના મમ્મીને પૂછીને કહો. So very less fathers like you I have come across who know ins and out of their children. So my question is that, okay, with the child I understood how to deal that performance, but when it comes to me dealing with my friend circle, putting it in the WhatsApp group or the comments that my friends, because if my child has performed low, there are friends who will call up and tell, तुम ऐसा करना तो ये अच्छा करेगा, तुम उसको ट्यूशन लगवाना. I have seen 2-year-old children going for tuition classes. I have seen 2 year old
Okay.
parents, 2 years old के बच्चों को they are giving pencils and they want them to write. And I'm sorry to say on this social media platform that I feel to tell them that जब भी ये बच्चा प्रेगनेंसी टेन्योर में था तभी से अगर आप ये सब कर देते तो इतना बाहर आके उसको करना ही नहीं पड़ता. तभी से आप लिखवाना दैट अभिमन्यु की साइकोलॉजी अगर आप डाल देते तो बाहर निकल के सीधा लिखने ही लगता. I mean, to write is such a big stress for the parents. बच्चा बेफिक्र है. So what are your takes on this, Pathik bhai, कि how should the parents deal with their friend circle stress? वो क्या करे?
In this matter, the first and foremost question that arises to me, myself, is that are we linking our child's performance with our own performance? If yes, then it should matter to us. If no, then it does not matter whether the child is performing or not performing. Like Jinali Ben said, that practically every child is unique. Every child is made in a specific way. Every parent is made in a specific way. There is no, unfortunately, we live in a world of SOPs where there are standardizations which have happened, that this standard is this much, this standard is this much, wherein when we talk about different things of standard, when we talk about all these things, the thing is that every child is unique and every child will have their own methodology of growing. Our intention should only be to blossom them in their life and to push them forward in their direction. Now, what primarily happens is कि आज अगर मैं WhatsApp ग्रुप पे या कहीं पे भी अगर ये सब चीजों पे मैं ज्यादा ध्यान दे रहा हूँ, तो प्रैक्टिकली अपन जो काम कर रहे हैं उसमें वी आर ओनली लुकिंग टू सी टू इट के वी आर गिवन अ थम्स अप, we are given a social pride, wherein that should not be the case at all. Like, if a child is performing, it is the child's performance, not yours. If the child is not performing, also it is his performance or her performance. We can only help them to see to it that they can be taken forward towards excellence, and in whatever direction. If the child wants to be a carpenter, let him be a carpenter. It's not necessary that everyone has to be a doctor or an engineer or anything like that. We need to understand as to where the abilities of a child is, and then push them forward in that direction. Maybe we can give exposure in different areas and see to it that practically we understand where the child's exposure is helping them blossom more or enjoy more, and then slowly and steadily we can push them in that direction. So practically, my take on that is very simple. That social media platforms, unfortunately, has become a place of getting thumbs up and and claps over there, instead of actually spending time with our own children and our own family.
Very, very well said. Very well said, Patik bhai. Now the question to you is the title of the talk show today. How much is too much? In today's generation, what I have found is everything is in excess. Love, care, independence, pampering. Because today I think this is overfed to the children, and I feel that is the result. Why I have noticed the change 17 years back when I started the preschool, and today the generation that I'm catering is totally one opposite to the other, in terms of the children accepting the teacher, the children accepting their peer group, the children accepting the instructions in whatever terms. As Dr. Jinali said, that the children today have their own choice of selecting clothes. I'm very much into that, and I appreciate that, because children should have that kind of opportunity, that kind of decision making, because these small things will definitely make them a good decision maker. But if a child is given three pairs of clothes and the child denies and then goes back and is fighting for some other thing, how will I understand that this is going beyond independence, this is going beyond normalcy? So how much is too much according to you, Patik bhai?
What I would say over here is that practically, if we go to say that like all the children are given everything that they want, that should not be happening. We should always know the limits. We should always know that if everything and anything is given, at the end of the day, they would not know the value of it. And that is where we practically see to it. For example, I'll just take an example, brief example of my daughter. Now, we don't have a television set at home. We practically have not, like, unfortunately, because of the online, because of the pandemic, we are having to do online classes with her. Otherwise, practically, she was not on the screen at all. So when it would be Saturday or a Sunday, she would actually look forward to it, because of the fact that she did not have that space of watching screen anytime and every time she wanted. So that is why it's important that, things are given as per requirement. Children, we as parents should know as to what is the requirement of a child, and where to say that okay, or to say no, or to divert. There are both the options of, saying no or to divert. It will depend upon the situation at that point of time. But it's very important to, see to it that everything is not given, and everything is not because he or she is the only child, or they are only the two children. It is not important that we simply give constantly in terms of, without making them understand. First, we have to make them understand that okay, you already have this, it is not required, and then we can, see to it that this we will do this at a certain point of time when the requirement is there. So that becomes very important to understand that they are given independence also, they are made, they are led to choose, but then it should not be in a form of ziddi manner, where it is not a need, but it is compulsion, or it is the mindset which is just wanting to take, wanting to buy, wanting to eat whatever it wants, because that will lead to a very stubborn child. And that is that will not gel in well, according to me, with the society. At the end of the day, we want to have happy children, we want to have, balanced children in the ongoing, after, in the next generation. So that balance is very important to form, and that both the parents will understand, because it's a unique journey for the parents and for the children. Everything is unique, so it has to be explored. There is no SOP. There is, it's only through experience, like Maharani Saheba said, that everything comes out of experience of going through with the journey, and seeing to it that this is not a report card. It's a life that we are taking forward and experiencing it with all the fullness that we can, and whatever it makes us go through. Happiness does not depend completely upon, how much you give. For example, certain children might be wanting, or might be getting happiness through things that they buy, or things that they get. Certain children might be getting love and affection through the time that you spend with them. Certain children might be, wanting affection through hugs, kisses, and things. So it is very important to understand as to what is your child, wanting to go forward with, or what is the requirement of the child at that point of time, because that will actually make them blossom in the future.
Correct. Very well said, Pathik bhai. So here, before going to Pratibha ma'am, I will come back to Maharani Saheba ji, because she's the most experienced in this whole panel. As we are talking about how much is too much, Maharani Saheba ji, what I have observed in a couple of years, in my journey meeting to the parents, is that, for example, there is a competition, and the prizes are being distributed. So there is a list: one's first, second, third, fourth, and then nobody else gets the prize, or they get the return gifts. Now one of the parent comes back and tells, मैम इसको है ना, सिर्फ इसको खुशी मिले ना, इसके लिए उसको एक ट्रॉफी दे दो, एक फोटो निकाल दो ना, तो she will be happy. Now at that particular time, I want to stand and counsel, but I'm pretty sure that the mother's mind is very closed at that particular time, because her focus is on that crying child, कि उसको कैसे समझाए. So any tip from your end, that how should mother, on her own decide that this thing will lead to a greater effect in future, because these children, when they grow up, they tend to understand that if we participate, We have to win. We cannot accept failure. So, any tips from your side?
Well, I think it's very complicated, Harsha Ben, because it has, again, this is the changing social demographics all over the world. Some years ago, when my children were still, I think, in school, a book came out in America which became very popular, Battle Hymn of the Tiger Mom. It was written by a Chinese mother, and she's written about, how strict they are. They're very, very strict disciplinarians with their children to a point of being cruel mothers. And that is why they do so well in places like America, where Americans is all about keeping the child happy. And we have somebody who's a professional here. Most professionals in America turn around and blame everything on the childhood. Everything is bad parenting. Now, I mean, that book was very, very extreme, but I am also a disciplinarian. I have an army background. My father was in the army. So I believe that it's very essential for children to know that if you are performing well, you get a reward. These consolation prizes are fine, but life is difficult, Harshabet. You cannot prepare your child for something where you're being rewarded all the time for not doing anything. So you have to find that balance, because this thing of, oh my God, no one can say anything to my child any longer. We used to deposit our children in school and let the teacher handle them. Then if the teacher said that, okay, your child is not doing well, you accept it and you say, okay, I will work harder, I will help him, her work harder. But now, even in our schools, parents come and fight, how dare you give poor grades? Now, you have to understand that nowadays, for parents also, this pressure that you all are talking about, that my child has to perform, it's an extension of their leftover dreams, like you said. So you have to understand that a child must know that there are certain things which will be unpleasant in life. And the earlier, of course, it is scarring at a very young age. So for your age group children, you have to be very careful that they're sensitive. If you giving a prize to one is going to make the other little one cry. I know, as a little, my brother and I are 1 year apart, and I did not feel happy at all on my brother's birthday because he got all the presents. So, it's bound to happen, but you have to learn to understand that, yes, I will get a present on my birthday, but on my brother's birthday, he is going to get the spoiling. So I think that this, I'm not very agreeable on the stance of, letting the children get away. They mustn't cry, they mustn't be unhappy, because like Pathik Bhai said, you can't spoil them and give them everything. They must earn it, they must work for it, they must appreciate it. So I am in the stricter disciplinarian side, where I have brought my children up, I think, very strictly, with a very firm hand. Anything special was a treat, which you got when you have deserved it and worked for it. So I mean, I don't know what else I can say. I know it's very sensitive nowadays for parents. It's become a lot, like you all are saying, it's become a lot about the parents themselves. It should not be that.
Correct, correct. A beautiful tip, a lot of learning from your side, ma'am. I'm sure that parents are taking note of this, because this is very important, I think, in your journey as a parent. Because how you deal with a situation, you're going to learn to deal with those situations in future. So thank you so much, Maharani Saheba, for such a wonderful tip. I'm coming to Pratibha Ben for her question. So Pratibha Ben, મારો બહુ જ સીધો ને સરળ ક્વેશ્ચન છે કે આજે આપણે બધા ડિસ્કસ કર્યું એવી રીતે कि anything in excess is not good. But then the question arises how to strike a balance. Because for me, I feel that gifting a child, giving presents instead of time is, what I feel कि it will strike a balance. कि આજે મેં 5 વાગે આવવાનું કીધું, આવી નથી શક્યો, so I'll go and gift my child something. So I strike the balance. So how we can, because at this point when both the parents are working, it's difficult at times to give that time, that quality time, uninterrupted time to the child, giving that comfort, giving that affection, that coziness to the child. So how to strike a balance? કોઈ એવી tips કે કોઈ એવા ideas છે કે જેથી parents સરળ રીતે સમજાઈ જાય કે okay, disciplinarian થવું, થોડું strict થવું, તો એની સાથે balance રાખવું. પ્રતિભા, over to you.
અચ્છા, આપણે બધા ક્યારના આ ચર્ચા કરીએ છીએ કે ક્વોલિટી ટાઈમ ઇમોશન્સ બધું જ આપણે પેરેન્ટિંગની અંદર આવવું જોઈએ. હવે આપણે ત્યાં વધારે કેવું છે કે પેરેન્ટિંગ કરવામાં, એટલે માનો કે તમારી પાસે સ્કૂલમાં બચ્ચાને લઈને આવે તો મોટે ભાગે પથિકે તમે સોરી પથિકે નહીં, તમે કહ્યું કે મધરને જ ખબર હોય, ફાધર તો આમ જ કહી દે. એટલે ખરેખર પેરેન્ટિંગ છે ને એ મધરિંગ નથી, ફાધરિંગ નથી, પેરેન્ટિંગ બંનેની જવાબદારી છે. આમાં કેવું થાય છે કે ક્યાંક ક્યાંક આપણે એવું જોવા મળે કે બંનેની જે સમજ શક્તિ હોય ને બાળક માટેની અલગ હોય. બાળકની ઉપર એક વિઘાતક અસર પડે. તમે બાળકને બંનેની સમજણ શક્તિ સાથે હોય કે બાળકની સાથે આપણે આ રીતે ટ્રીટ કરવાનું છે. હવે એક બાળકને માં હોય કે બાપ હોય, બેમાંથી એક બાળકને સરળતાથી સમજાવતું હોય, બીજું એને પેમ્પરિંગ કરતું હોય, તો એમાં બાળક છે ને એ ખોટા રસ્તે એને એમ થાય કે મને અહીંયા આમ કરીશ ને તો મને મારું ધાર્યું પડી જશે. એટલે એ ખોટું બોલીને પણ એનું જે ડેવલપમેન્ટ થાય એમાં ખોટું બોલીને પણ જે વ્યક્તિ એને પેમ્પરિંગ કરતું એની પાસે જાય. એટલે આ વસ્તુ પહેલી વાત તો એ છે કે માનો કે વરસાદ છે કે કોઈ પણ મોસમ છે, તો એ મોસમમાં જયારે બે મોસમ ભેગી થાય ત્યારે આપણે કેવું કહીએ છીએ કે મોસમમાં ગ્લોબલ વોર્મિંગ ના આ ને તેને અસર છે, એટલે બરાબર વાતાવરણ નથી, એટમોસ્ફિયરમાં ઓલું છે. એ રીતે પેરેન્ટ્સમાં પણ જો એક સરખી પદ્ધતિથી જો પેરેન્ટિંગ ના થાય તો ક્યાંક ને ક્યાંક તકલીફ છે. એટલે મેઇન વસ્તુ એ છે કે બાળકનું જયારે તમે બાળકને જન્મ આપો, બાળક સાવ નાનપણથી તમે જુઓ 2-3 વર્ષથી તમારે એની પાછળની જે એની જે પ્રવૃત્તિઓ છે, એની જે ગતિવિધિ છે દરેક પ્રકારની, એમાં તમારે એ રીતે ધ્યાન આપવું પડે. કોઈ પણ બાળકને તમે અત્યારે કેવી છે ભાગા દોડ, મારા બાળકને હું આ બતાવી દઉં ને આ શીખવી દઉં ને એને નંબર તો આવવો જ જોઈએ, આમાં નંબર આવવો જોઈએ, આમાં નંબર, એમ કરીને ભાગા દોડમાં બાળકની જે સ્વાભાવિક પ્રવૃત્તિ છે ને, બાળ માનસ એક રમતિયાળ માણસ હોય, તો એ સ્વાભાવિક પ્રવૃત્તિ ઉપર જયારે રોક લાગે ને, એની ઉપર ઉપરથી આરોપણ કરવામાં આવે કે તારે આ કરવાનું છે, આ કરવાનું છે, ત્યારે એની જે નેચરલ શક્તિ હોય ને એ કુંઠિત થઈ જાય. એક લેખક છે, એને બહુ સરસ રીતે વાત કરી છે એની નવલકથા એમિનોમાં રૂશો કરીને, કે બાળકની સ્વાભાવિક પ્રવૃત્તિ ઉપર કોઈ પણ જાતનો રોક લગાવાય જ નહીં. હવે માનો કે આપણે એવું કહીએ કે બેલેન્સ તો જાળવવું પડે, રોક ના લગાવો તો તમે એ તો બાળક પોતાની રીતે સાવ સ્વચ્છંદી ના કરાય. એટલે આમાં એવું છે કે બાળકને તમે સીધી ના પાડી શકો, આ નથી કરવાનું, આ નથી કરવાનું, એમ નહીં. નેગેટિવલી કોઈ પણ વાત કરો ને તો એને અસર ઊંધી પડે. એટલે એની સાથે બહુ જ સિફતપૂર્વક એને પહેલી વાત તો કે એના જે ઇમોશન્સ છે એની સાથે તમે એને ઊંઘ આપો. જેટલું તમારી સાથે ઇમોશનલી એટેચ હશે ને બાળક, એટલું એ વધારે ને વધારે નેચરલ શક્તિ હશે ને એ ખીલશે. એટલે પેલા આપણે એક સેશન થઈ ગયું ત્યારે વાત થઈ હતી કે બાળક છે ને આ પેશનની પાઠશાળા છે. ધીમે ધીમે ઉગડતી કળી હોય, ફૂલની કળી હોય તો એ ધીમે ધીમે ઉગડે. આપણે વાવીએ અને કળી બેસે એટલે આપણે ફટ ખોલી નથી નાખતા, એને એના સમય પ્રમાણે એને વિકસિત થવા દઈએ છીએ. એટલે એ પ્રમાણે જો બાળકની સાથે તમે કરો તો તમને વાંધો ન આવે. એને મેઇન વસ્તુ એ છે કે એના ઇમોશન્સ છે ને, આપણે ત્યાં કેવું છે કે બાળક જન્મે એટલે એને આ ખોરાક આપો, આ ખોરાક આપો, એ બધું અત્યારે જે સોશિયલ મીડિયાની એડવર્ટાઇઝમાં ઓર્ગેનિક છે ને, હર્બલ છે ને, આ ઉપયોગ કરો, આ બધી ડેફિશિયન્સી માટે વિચારે છે, પણ એની ઇમોશનલ ડેફિશિયન્સી ક્યાં થાય છે ને એ નથી વિચારતા. કારણ કે અત્યારે મા બાપ બધા પોતપોતાના કામમાં બિઝી હોય. માનો કે મા હાઉસવાઈફ હોય તો એને ઘરમાં કઈક જવાબદારી હોય, એટલે એ પછી પોતાનો ઓન ટાઈમ કરીને એ પછી થાકે, બાળક પ્રત્યે ધ્યાન નથી અપાતું. તમે બાળકને બધી સુવિધાઓ આપી દો, પણ માત્ર સુવિધાથી કામ નથી ચાલતું. બાળકની સાથે ઇમોશનલ એટેચમેન્ટ એ બહુ જ મહત્વની વસ્તુ છે, અને તો એ પોતાની શક્તિ ખીલશે. જો અત્યારે આ આર્ટિફિશિયલ ઇન્ટેલિજન્સનો જમાનો છે, તો એ બધી ક્રિએટિવિટી ક્યાંથી ડેવલપ થાય? તમે એમ માનો કે હું બાળકને આ ક્લાસમાં મોકલી દઉં કે આ ક્લાસમાં મોકલી દઉં એટલે બાળકને બધું શીખી જશે. પણ એ શીખવા કરતા એને હરીફાઈની ઓલીમાં તમે લગાવો ને એટલે એનું જે વ્યક્તિત્વ છે ને એ સ્વાર્થી થતું જાય કે બસ મારી પાછળ જ દુનિયા હોય, હું સૌથી પહેલો. એ જે હું સૌથી પહેલો કે હું સૌથી પહેલીની જે માનસિકતા છે ને એનાથી એક સ્વાર્થ પરાયણ માનસિકતા એની ડેવલપ થાય છે. એટલે એને ભલે તમે સ્પર્ધાત્મક રીતે કરો પણ સ્પર્ધામાં પછી જે સોશિયલ ઇન્ટરેક્શન છે એ સંઘર્ષમાં ન પરિણમવી જોઈએ. બાળકની સાથે તમે બહારથી રમીને આવે તો એની સાથેનું કમ્યુનિકેશન હોવું જોઈએ કે ભાઈ તે બારે શું કર્યું, આજે કોણે શું કરાવ્યું, સ્કૂલમાં શું કરાવ્યું, કે બહાર તું રમ્યો તો કેવી રીતે બધા રમ્યા, કોઈ ઝઘડ્યું નથી ને. આ બધી જ નાની 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 માહિતી છે ને એ માં અથવા બાપ છે કોઈ એને પેરેન્ટિંગ કરતું હોય પ્રોપરલી એને આપવું જોઈએ. એટલે આ વસ્તુ એવી છે કે તમે એને કોઈ પણ જાતની રોક લગાવ્યા વગર એ શું કરે છે ને એની પડદા પાછળ રહીને તમારે ધ્યાન આપવું પડે. એને સીધે સીધું એક આમ પોલીસ ઓફિસરની જેમ બાળકની ઉપર સતત રિસ્ટ્રિક્શન થી ના થાય. રિસ્ટ્રિક્ટિવ પેરેન્ટિંગ છે ને એ બહુ નિષ્ફળ પેરેન્ટિંગ છે. એટલે તમે કેવું છે કે એક આખી જે પ્રક્રિયા છે ને એ પ્રક્રિયાની અંદર માં અથવા તો બાપે બંને પૂરેપૂરું ધ્યાન આપવું જોઈએ. બીજું કે એની દેખતા બાળકની દેખતા ઘણા ફેમિલીમાં આપણને એવું જોવા મળે. અમારો તો વકીલાતનો વ્યવસાય છે એટલે મને તો ખબર છે કે એ બાળકની દેખતા જ ઝઘડા કરતા હોય છે. એટલે પોતાના વર્તન ઉપર એ મા બાપે રોક લગાવવી જોઈએ. બેલેન્સિંગ ત્યાં થાય. મા બાપના વર્તન ઉપર રોક લાગવી જોઈએ કે બાળકની દેખતા માનો કે એક બાળકનું મેથ્સ ખરાબ છે તો હસબન્ડ વાઈફ ઉપર એલિગેશન મૂકે કે તારું મેથ્સ ખરાબ છે ને એટલે આનું મેથ્સ ખરાબ છે. એટલે આ બાળકની દેખતા જે કઈ ચર્ચાઓ થાય છે એ ન થવી જોઈએ. એટલે દરેકે પોતાના ઉપર પણ સેલ્ફ કંટ્રોલ હોવો જોઈએ. એટલે આ બધી વસ્તુથી એક આખું જે સામાજિકતા છે ને એની એ બગડતી જાય. એટલે મા બાપે પણ આ વસ્તુનો ખ્યાલ રાખવો જોઈએ કે એના ઇમોશન્સ પર કાબુ રાખવા જોઈએ કોઈ પણ વસ્તુનો.
પ્રતિભાબેન, બહુ નાના નાના પોઈન્ટ્સ બહુ જ સરસ રીતે તમે એક્સપ્લેન કર્યા. અને જે તમે આ એક વાત કીધી ને એમાં હું થોડુંક એક એડ કરવા ચાહીશ કે બાળકોની સામે જે તમે વાત કરો, હું તમને મારા પ્લે હાઉસનું જ એક્ઝામ્પલ આપું. નર્સરીમાં મારે એક બાળક છે. નર્સરીનું બાળક લગભગ 3.5-4 વર્ષનું હોય અને એના ઘરમાં એક બીજા બાળકનો જન્મ થયો. 3.5 year child, your old child comes and tells me, મારા મમ્મીની વોટર બેગ બસ્ટ થઈ ગઈ ને મેમ, એટલે ગઈકાલે રાત્રે અમારે હોસ્પિટલાઇઝ કરવા પડ્યા અને પછી સી સેક્શન કર્યું અને બાળક આવ્યું, મારે ભાઈ આવ્યો. એટલે આઈ વોઝ સરપ્રાઇઝડ, યુ નો, એટ ધીસ એજ ડુ યુ થિંક દેટ. એટલે મને હું ત્યારે જરા બેક, મને થોડો વિચારવાનું હંમેશા એવું પેલું હોય કે હું હંમેશા વિચારું કે આ બાળક આને સાંભળ્યું આ કોન્વર્સેશન ત્યારે આના મગજમાં આટલા વર્ડ્સ એ સમાવેશ કર્યો. અધરવાઇઝ આ બાળકને શું ખબર પડે કે વોટર બેગ બસ્ટ થઈ ને મમ્મીને સી સેક્શન થયું ને. એટલે અનનોઈંગલી ઘણી બધી વાર પેરેન્ટ્સ એવી સહેજતાથી ચર્ચા કરતા હોય પછી બાળક વ્યસ્ત થાય આ બધી વસ્તુને જાણવા માટે. ઘણી વાર એ વસ્તુ કામની હોય, ઘણી વાર એ વસ્તુ એના કામની ન હોય. એટલે આઈ થિંક તમે જે પોઈન્ટ આઉટ કર્યું ને કે પેરેન્ટ્સે બહુ માઇન્ડફુલ થવાની જરૂર છે વોટ એવર યુ આર ટોકિંગ ઇન ફ્રન્ટ ઓફ ચિલ્ડ્રન. બીકોઝ હવે ડ્રોઈંગ રૂમની અંદર, ડાઇનિંગ ટેબલની અંદર બધી જ ટાઈપની ચર્ચા થતી હોય. એટલે જેમ તમે વાત કરી એમ હવે જ્યારે ઓનલાઈન ક્લાસીસ શરૂ થયા ત્યારે ઘણી સ્કૂલ્સના પેરેન્ટ્સના સાથે અમારે લોકોને કમ્યુનિકેશન થયા. તો બાળક ટીચર કેવી રીતે, બીકોઝ ટીચર્સ માટે બી નવું હતું ટુ જમ્પ ઓન ઓનલાઈન પ્લેટફોર્મ. ઘણા ટીચર્સ એટલા કોન્ફિડન્ટ નહોતા, ક્લાસમાં બહુ કોન્ફિડન્ટ પણ કેમેરાની સામે એટલા કોન્ફિડન્ટ નહીં. એટલે પેરેન્ટ્સ ડિસ્કસ કરે. હવે એ બાળક પાછું ઓનલાઈન ક્લાસમાં એમ કે મારા મમ્મી એમ કહેતા હતા કે આ ટીચર તો કેવું ભણાવે છે, આને તો કાંઈ બોલતા જ નથી આવડતું, આનું પ્રોનાઉન્સિએશન તો જુઓ. આઈ મીન, એટલે ત્યારે ઘણી બધી વખત મેં પર્સનલી પણ પેરેન્ટ્સને કોલ કર્યા, ઘણીવાર ઝૂમ
ખૂબ
મિટિંગ્સ કરીને
જરૂરી છે.
પણ એક બિહેવિયર સમજાવ્યું કે when children are present you have to be very mindful of what you are talking, you know, because children આજે જેમ ઘરે આવીને બધી વાત સ્કૂલની કરતું હોય એમ સ્કૂલે આવીને ઘરની પણ બધી વાતો કરતું
ઘરની
હોય.
કોઈ કરે.
તો બહુ જ
એટલે
સરસ
આ
રીતે
છે ને
તમે
કેવું છે કે અને અત્યારે માહિતીનો તો વિસ્ફોટ થયો જ છે ઈ વર્લ્ડમાં,
કરેક્ટ.
બરાબર. એટલે એને ઘરેથી કે બહારથી પણ બહારથી અસંખ્ય માહિતી મળતી હશે અલગ અલગ વિષય પરની. તો એ જયારે ઘરે આવીને પૂછે ત્યારે ઘણા પેરેન્ટ્સ શું કરે, ઘણી માં કે પપ્પા જે કોઈ હોય, તારા કામનું નથી, એ તારે નથી જોવાનું, એવું નહીં વિચારવાનું, આ ગંદુ કહેવાય. આવી બધી જે વાતો કરે છે ને બાળક પાસે, ત્યારે બાળક એની માહિતી જે મા બાપ પાસેથી મળવી જોવે એને યોગ્ય શબ્દમાં બાળક સમજી શકે એવા શબ્દમાં આપવી જોઈએ. પણ એને બદલે શું થાય કે આ રીતે એને રોકવામાં આવે એટલે એ માહિતી બહારથી મેળવે. માનો કે માં વર્કિંગ હોય તો એને રાખનારી સ્ત્રી હોય, આયા હોય કે જે કોઈ હોય, એની પાસેથી માહિતી મેળવે. એટલે આ બધું છે ને એના મગજની અંદર એટલું બધું કચ્ચર ગાણ થઈ જાય ને કે ખરેખર યોગ્ય લોજિકલી જે માહિતી મળવી જોઈએ ને એ લોજિક નો તો નાશ જ થઈ જાય. એટલે એમાં દરેક ફેક્ટર આવી જાય, ધાર્મિક માન્યતાઓથી માંડી, સામાજિક માન્યતાઓથી માંડી, કે ભાઈ હું આના ઘરે ગયો હતો તો ત્યાં તો એના મમ્મી આવી રીતના કહેતા હતા, પપ્પા આમ કહેતા હતા. આ બધી જ બાળકો છે ને એટલા બધા ઓબ્ઝર્વર હોય, એ બહુ જ નિરીક્ષણ કરતા હોય બધી વસ્તુનું. એની પાસે જયારે તમે તમને પ્રશ્ન પૂછે તો એને રોકો નહીં. રોકે ને એના કારણે થઈને એ પછી બહારથી કઈ પણ મેળવશે અને જે જિજ્ઞાસા હોય એને. એટલે આ વસ્તુ બહુ જરૂરી છે કે બાળકને બાળકની ભાષામાં સમજાવવું પડે બધું.
કરેક્ટ. બહુ જ સરસ રીતે તમે આ પ્રશ્નનો જવાબ આપ્યો. થેન્ક યુ પ્રતિભાબેન. બધા પેનલિસ્ટને ફરી વખત આઈ રિયલી થેન્ક યુ. થોડું નેટવર્કના ઇશ્યુ
હર્ષા
આઈ એમ
મેમ,
શ્યોર યુ
મારે
મસ્ટ
જસ્ટ એક
ઓલ્સો હેવ
વસ્તુ,
ફેસ્ડ દેટ ધ network sign was coming in, going in, out. But thank you so much for bearing with us. Still 5 more minutes when I'll request Mona કે જે અમારું ઇનિશિયેટિવ છે સ્પર્શ, એને અમે આ વર્ષે જ we have just launched this year that initiative. And this basically, Sparsh is such an initiative wherein we will run fundraising drives every year, and we will identify an organization who needs that fund, and we will make sure that all the funds are deposited there and they get complete advantage of whatever we've collected. So, Mona, over to you before we close down. Just 5 more minutes, all the guests with all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Harsha, for this lovely, for being a lovely moderator and the panelist. Hats off to everyone because today I have a lot of takeaway with me. So now moving forward with this show, we talk about Sparsh. May I have the slide, please?
Yeah, it's just on the way. Just a moment.
Okay, okay. As Harsha said, Sparsh, matlab touching lives. So we tend to have a tie-up every year with one NGO as we celebrate the annual day of Parent Station. And this time the NGO with which we have tied up is Balwadi, who is volunteered by Pragma Ben. May we have Pragma Ben? Yeah. So before I talk about Pragma Ben, let me introduce the committee members of Sparsh. President Harsha Ramaiya, Vice President myself, Treasurer Ms. Shilpa Dulera, Treasurer Mr. Vijay Dulera, the Secretary Mr. Girish Ramaiya, Joint Secretary Mr. Bushit Bhatt, and the working member Mr. Manav Ramaiya. And this is the committee of Sparsh. The mission of Sparsh is we tend to improve, to try our best for the local community. We try and raise funds so that no one is left out and we can help as much as we can for their upliftment and the benefits. The vision of Sparsh is to serve the society, to eternize the humanity in every possible way we can. And we also ask for all of you to support us in whatever way you can. And remember, a single penny counts. So now talking about Pragma Gandhi. So she has been a teacher. She had been a teacher for 5 years, but was not satisfied with what she was doing because she had another purpose in life and which she realized. So I think Pragna Ben is with us, Harsha. So let's hear it
Yes,
from
I'm just bringing her
her.
online.
Yeah, yeah.
Just a moment. પ્રજ્ઞાબેન ને અમને સ્પોટ કરવામાં ઘણા બધા લોકોએ હેલ્પ કરી છે, બીકોઝ એ બહુ જ સરસ એક ઇનિશિયેટિવ ચલાવે છે. યર પ્રજ્ઞાબેન, તમે અમારી સાથે છો? કેમ છો પ્રજ્ઞાબેન?
બસ મજા. નમસ્તે.
નમસ્તે. થોડું તમારું જે ઇનિશિયેટિવ છે, તમે જે બાલ વાટિકા ચલાવો છો, એના વિશે થોડી વાત કરશો?
હા.
કેટલા વર્ષ થયા તમને આ શરૂ કરવાની? તમને આ પ્રેરણા ક્યાંથી મળી? એ થોડું અમારી સાથે શેર કરશો પ્લીઝ?
હા, કરું. મને આ પ્રેરણા નો સ્ત્રોત મને આમ 1999 ની સાલમાં મને વિચાર આવ્યો હતો કે મારે જે કઈ કામ કરવું છે એ તકવંચિત બાળકો માટે કામ કરવું છે. રખડતા ભટકતા ફુગ્ગા ફરફરિયા વેચતા બાળકો કે જેને આજે સ્કૂલે જવા નથી મળતું, જેને અક્ષર જ્ઞાન પણ નથી મળતું અને મળવાનું પણ નથી, તો એવા બાળકો માટે મને કામ કરવાની ઈચ્છા થઈ હતી. અને મેં 1999 ની સાલમાં સર્વે ચાલુ કર્યો કે હું આ બાળકો માટે કામ કરીશ. અને ત્યારે 400 બાળકો મને મળ્યા હતા કે ભણવું છે પણ અમને સ્કૂલમાં જ કોઈ નથી રાખતું. તો કેમ નથી રાખતું એના કારણો જાણ્યા ત્યારે ખ્યાલ આવ્યો કે ખરેખર જો કામ કરવું હોય તો આ બાળકો માટે કામ કરીએ તો એમ કે આ બાળકોને તો તક મળશે, પણ આની સિવાય પણ જેટલા બાળકો મારા આગળ ભણીને આગળ જશે એને વધારે ને વધારે આ લાભ મળશે. અને આ 21 વર્ષથી હું આ ચલાવું છું બાલ વાટિકા. 6000 થી વધારે પણ બાળકો મારી પાસે ભણીને આગળ ગયા છે અને હાલ 250 બાળકો મારી પાસે ભણે છે.
બહુ જ સરસ પ્રજ્ઞાબેન, બહુ જ સરસ આ ઇનિશિયેટિવ તમે ચલાવો છો. થોડું વિગત પ્રજ્ઞાબેન વિશે વધારે આપતા, એક મંદિર છે ભરતનગર પાસે, તેનું જે પટાંગણ કહેવાય, ધ પેરિફેરી ઓફ ધેટ ટેમ્પલ, એમને જે પૂજારી છે એમણે આપી છે કે તમે અહીંયા બાળકોને ભણાવી શકો. ત્યાં કોઈ ફ્લોરિંગ કશું જ નથી, રેતીવાળી જગ્યા છે અને ઉપર પણ કોઈ ડોમ કે કશું જ નથી. ઇટ્સ અ વેરી ઓપન એન્ડ અ વેરી બેર પ્લેસ કે જ્યાં 200-250 બાળકોને ભણાવે છે. હું મોના અમે પર્સનલી 3-4 વખત ત્યાં ગયા. અમે લોકોએ જોયું કે કેવી રીતના those children don't have even slippers to wear, even કમ્પ્લીટ યુનિફોર્મ તો ભૂલી જાઓ, ઇવન કપડાં પણ નથી. એટલે whatever she gets is through donations like people us who contribute, and એકાદ વસ્તુ એ લોકોને મળતી જાય ને એ લોકોનું એજ્યુકેશન જે છે આગળ થતું જાય. સો વી ડિસાઇડેડ કે આપણે એવું એક ઇનિશિયેટિવ લોન્ચ કરીએ કે જેમાં એક એનજીઓને એવરી યર આપણે અડોપ્ટ તો ન કહેવાય પણ હેલ્પફુલ બનીએ, સો દેટ વી ટેક ચાર્જ ઓફ દેટ એનજીઓ એન્ડ વી want to fulfill the major requirements. For example, કે એમના યુનિફોર્મ છે, એમના બુક્સ છે, કે કોઈ સ્ટેશનરી, બીકોઝ એ લોકોને સ્કૂલમાંથી પ્રોજેક્ટ આવતો હોય પણ પ્રોજેક્ટ કરવા માટે they don't have even chart papers, pencils, erasers. સો ઘરે જ એમના પેરેન્ટ્સ કામ કરતા હોય તો કેમ આપણા ઘરે વધારાની વસ્તુ હોય એન્ડ વી જસ્ટ ગીવ ઇટ ટુ ધેમ, એવી રીતે એમના પેરેન્ટ્સ પાસે આવે. ધ પેરેન્ટ્સ ડોન્ટ હેવ ટાઈમ, સો પ્રજ્ઞાબેન હરસેલ્ફ વિલ ટેક ઓલ ધ ટાઈમ આઉટ, એ લોકોના પ્રોજેક્ટ્સ બનાવે, ઇવન સ્કૂલમાં સબમિટ કરવા જાય. અને વધારા આગળ વસ્તુ કહું તો અત્યારે પ્રજ્ઞાબેન પાસે 2 થી 3 બાળકો એવા છે કે જેને એમબીબીએસમાં પણ એડમિશન પ્રજ્ઞાબેને અપાવ્યું છે. પ્રજ્ઞાબેન, એમના વિશે થોડી વાત કરીએ આપણે, એ જે 2-3 બાળકો છે જેની માટે તમે એ એફર્ટ લીધો છે.
હા, મારે ત્યાં જે બાળકો હાલ અત્યારે બાળક છે મકવાણા જયરાજ કરીને એમબીબીએસ માં એડમિશન લેવા જઈ રહ્યો છે. અને બીજી એક દીકરી છે મકવાણા નિયતિ કરીને, એને બીએ એમએસસી કરાવ્યું છે, બીએસસી એમએસસી કરાવ્યું છે. હાલ તે વોટર પ્યુરિફાયર ની કંપનીમાં જોબ કરે છે. અને આ છોકરીની પરિસ્થિતિ એટલી બધી ખરાબ છે કે ઘરમાં 4 બહેનો છે, એક બેન સાસરથી પાછી આવી છે અને આ નિયતિ ઉપર જ આખું ઘર ચાલે છે. ત્યાર પછીની 2 દીકરીઓ છે, એક બીએસસી માં ભણે છે, બીએસસી સેકન્ડ યર છે, અને બીજી છે એ અત્યારે 12 સાયન્સ બી ગ્રુપમાં ભણે છે અને એને પીડિયાટ્રિશિયન બનવાનું છે, એવું એનું સપનું છે. અને આ સપનું હું 100% સાકાર કરીશ એવી ભગવાનને પ્રાર્થના કરું છું અને હું પોતે એના માટે જે કાંઈ કરવું પડશે એ કરીશ.
બહુ જ સરસ પ્રજ્ઞાબેન. એટલે જ્યારે પ્રજ્ઞાબેનની જર્ની અમે લોકો જોઈ, વી ગોટ સો મચ ઇન્સ્પાયર્ડ that at least agar એના જેટલો time ના devote કરી શકે તો we make that channel that at least we can contribute little in terms of cash or kind, whatever. It's not ke always money is required for such kind of initiatives. Sometimes a little time, sometimes the word of mouth also can help these organizations to flourish. So Pragnaben, thank you so much. અને આજે જે અમે લોકોએ આટલા એકાદ મહિનાથી આ ડ્રાઈવ હાથમાં લીધું છે, so I'm very happy to announce that last week Sudhi we had collected 1,08,000. Today we are adding 20,000 more, so it comes to 1,28,000. So we have opened a bank account in name of Sparsh, and આખા વર્ષ દરમિયાન પ્રજ્ઞાબેનના બાળકોને જેટલી વસ્તુની જરૂર પડશે એમાંથી અમે લોકો વસ્તુઓ ત્યાં પહોંચાડશું. ફોર એક્ઝામ્પલ, ઇફ દે વોન્ટ સ્ટડી કિટ્સ, if they want any materials, if it's uniform, it is shoes, socks, because આ બાળકો એવા છે. હમણાં હું જ્યારે લાસ્ટ ગઈ હતી ત્યારે I saw that somebody had donated uniforms and uniform sweaters. So those children were so happy, because એક full clothing પહેરવું, સ્કૂલના કપડા પહેરવા આપણા માટે બહુ સહેજ છે, but for those children it is an achievement. એટલે that time me and my husband saw them without shoes and socks. So the first thing that we've decided from our end is કે જે 200 બાળકો છે ને, we'll make sure that they all get shoes and socks, so that when they move out from their homes, તો એ લોકો અરીસામાં જોવે તો at least they feel કે હું સ્કૂલે જાઉં છું. Because એ બી એક હોય છે એ લોકો so happy. ટાઈમ હોય એક વખત ભરતનગર પાસે જગ્યા છે જ્યાં એમનું મંદિર છે, beautiful work Pragna is doing. So thank you so much Pragnaben. ખરેખર બહુ જ ઇન્સ્પિરેશન છે તમારા તમને મળીને પણ, અને તમે જ અમને લોકોને આ ઓપોર્ચ્યુનિટી આપી કે અમે આવું વિચારીએ અને સોસાયટીને જે અમારી પાસે તેમાંથી એટલીસ્ટ થોડુંક રિટર્ન કરવાની કોશિશ કરીએ. So on behalf of Parent Station, on behalf of Small Wonders, on behalf of all the panelists, I thank everybody for being with us. કેમ કે આજે પેરેન્ટ સ્ટેશનની 5th એનિવર્સરી હતી, તો કીધું કે આવી રીતે સેલિબ્રેટ કરીએ કે જેમાં પેરેન્ટ્સના માટે એક વેબિનાર બી ગોઠવીએ અને પ્રજ્ઞાબેનનું જે છે તે અમે લોકો થોડું બધાને વાતચીત પણ કરીએ. So thank you so much Maharani Saheba, thank you so much. Your esteemed presence has meant a lot to us. Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you Dr. Jinali. Thank you Pathik bhai. Thank you Mona ma'am for leading the entire event from thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much for making me a part of this good cause. Thank you.